The morning it all snapped began like every other Saturday in Cottonwood Heights. Burnt toast, my mother's too bright voice, my father clearing his throat as if he were about to read the weather report instead of detonate my life. I sat down at the table, backpack still by the door because I was supposed to move into the dorms at the University of Utah in 1 week. My father folded his hands. My mother smiled like she was bracing for impact. "We need to talk." "Juno," my father said, "your sister's engagement has created some financial adjustments." My mother jumped in. "Ayla's wedding at Stein Erikson Lodge is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Sweetheart. And the home in Leahy needs a stronger down payment." Ayla leaned against the counter, twirling her new engagement ring so the light hit it. "You're creative," she said lightly. "College isn't really your thing anyway." My stomach tightened. "What are you saying?" My father exhaled, slow and practiced. "We're reallocating your college fund. All $42,000, putting it toward Ayla's future. You can reapply for scholarships. You always land on your feet." I stared at the pattern of crumbs on my plate. Something inside me stopped moving, like a switch flipped and the power cut out. My mother touched my arm gently. "Family supports family. Juno, Ayla needs this more than you do right now," Ayla added. "You'll understand someday." I stood up. I did not remember making the decision to move. Only the scrape of the chair against the tile and my mother's startled inhale. No yelling, no crying. Just a steady, widening quiet as I walked upstairs. I zipped the duffel bag I had been hiding under my bed for months. Downstairs. Their voices rose and cracked, arguing about tone, about timing, about me. Then I heard the line that sealed everything. "She'll break eventually," my father said softly. "She always does. She'll stay." But I didn't. By late afternoon, I was gone, my phone silent in my pocket. If you have ever had the people who were supposed to protect your future decide it was expendable, keep listening. You are not alone in this story, and neither was I. I reached the dorm at Lassonde Studios before sunset, the duffel cutting into my shoulder. Inside, a girl sat cross-legged on her bed with headphones crooked around her neck, sketching on a tablet. She glanced up, eyes sharp beneath blunt bangs. "You must be Juno," she said. "I'm Tuvi Lam, but everyone calls me V." I nodded, setting my bag down. "Sorry if I'm moving in late." She studied my face for a beat too long. "You look like you left somewhere in a hurry." The words slipped out before I could stop them. My parents just handed my $42,000 college fund to my sister's wedding. V blinked. "They what?" "They said she needed it more." I murmured. "They said I'd land on my feet." V placed her tablet aside. "That's not support. That's sabotage wrapped in a Hallmark card." I didn't laugh. I just kept unpacking the few things I brought. A pair of boots, my camera, a stack of notebooks with half-drawn maps inside. Later that night, as we ate instant noodles over the sink, V nudged me gently. "You going home for weekends?" "No." "Good," she said simply. "Sometimes you have to choose yourself." The next weeks blurred. I juggled 2 campus jobs, took on tiny graphic gigs, sticker sheets for an indie ski shop, trail maps for a local outfitter. $30 here, $50 there. My savings evaporated into textbooks and tuition. One night, exhausted, I almost called home. My thumb hovered over my mother's name. A voicemail blinked instead, an accidental message she had sent earlier. My mother's voice floated through the speaker. "Juno will fail fast and come back. She always does. She just needs to be humbled." I put the phone down slowly. V watched me from her desk, eyes soft but steady. "Then don't go back," she said. "Build something they never see coming." I nodded, the last thread between me and home snapping clean. V found me editing photos at 2 a.m, my laptop balanced on my knees. She leaned against my bed frame, arms crossed. "You have not moved in hours," she said. Did you eat? I'm fine. My voice sounded thinner than I expected. I just needed to make something that feels like mine. I turned the screen so she could see the shots sunrise over Big Cottonwood Canyon. Ridgelines traced in gold. V whistled low. These look like they belong on gear ads, she said. You could sell the edits. A preset pack. Maybe. I laughed under my breath. No one's buying my work. Try anyway, she said. Let the world prove you wrong. So I did. I named the presets Copper Ridge, uploaded them to a tiny marketplace, and priced them at $25. Then I closed my laptop because I could not stand waiting for nothing. 2 days later, V shook me awake before class. You made 8 sales. My heart jumped. 8, she repeated, grinning. And people are tagging your photos. By the end of the week, 29 more orders slid into my inbox. The week after that, 120 downloads landed overnight after a mid-size outdoor page used my edit and tagged me. Notifications lit up my screen faster than I could open them. Riley, my cousin, messaged on the same day. She sent a photo of Ayla in a bridal robe, holding up her 2.2-carat ring. Caption, living my dream. V looked over my shoulder. You okay? I swallowed hard. I'm working on it. I clicked out of the photo, reopened my editing software, and pushed the curves higher clean, sharp, expensive. The life I wanted, even if I had to build it pixel by pixel. The ivory envelope showed up in my dorm mailbox with gold lettering and a wax seal that looked like it belonged to someone else's family. I opened it because part of me still hoped for an explanation. Instead, I found Ayla and Braden smiling from a printed card, inviting me to watch them get married at Stein Erikson Lodge. 200 guests, black tie, a registry filled with things no one needed. V read over my shoulder. They really sent you this. I dropped the envelope straight into the recycling bin. They can keep all of it. Riley called that night. You saw the invite. Right. Yeah. She also posted a video tour of the lodge. She said she cried when she realized she could finally afford the wedding she deserved. With my college fund, I muttered. Riley went quiet. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. Over the next month, wedding content swallowed every feed. Ayla's dress fitting, champagne toasts, my parents beaming in every frame. Someone commented, Your family really shows up for you. Ayla, I locked my phone and didn't open it again until morning. The wedding happened without me. A week later, Riley texted call me. It's urgent. When she picked up, her voice was shaking. Ayla came home early from a girls' trip, and she found Braden on their couch. A pause. With another woman. The woman has a 5-year-old son. His son. My grip tightened on the phone. And that's not all. Riley continued. There were bank statements on the counter. $14,000 in cash advances to casinos. $22,000 wired to some account in Henderson. They returned half the wedding gifts for cash. I closed my eyes as the familiar heaviness settled in my chest. Riley's voice cracked. Juno, you were right about him. I didn't say anything. She exhaled shakily. And I think things are about to get worse. Riley called again 2 days later, her voice thinner than before. The letters won't stop coming. What letters, I asked. Mortgage notices. Past due. The Lehigh house is already 2 payments behind. And there are credit cards, so many credit cards. I pressed the phone to my ear. How many? 12, she whispered. All in Ayla's name. Braden was an authorized user on every single one. The total is about $68,000. V looked up from her desk when she heard my breath hitch. I turned away. Riley kept going. Your parents are panicking. Your mom said they might have to pull from your father's retirement if things don't turn around. I almost laughed. Turn around. Braden emptied everything and ran. Riley hesitated. He also took the leased car. They can't find him. That night, my phone rang again. My mother's name filled the screen until it dimmed. She tried 3 more times before I finally answered. Her voice trembled. "Juno, we need your help. The bank said foreclosure is possible in 60 to 90 days. Your father is sick over this." I swallowed the bitterness rising in my throat. "The money you're trying to save, that was my college fund. Do you remember that silence?" Then a shaky breath. "This is different. This is the whole family." "No," I said softly. "It's the family you chose." Before she could argue, I ended the call. An hour later, Riley texted I found something else. "I don't know how to tell you." I called immediately. She sounded nauseous. "Juno, when you were 16, your parents opened a credit card using your social security number. They said it was for emergencies. That card is also past due." My chest tightened. V crossed the room, placing a hand on my shoulder. Riley whispered, "I am so sorry." I nodded even though she couldn't see me. Something inside me settled, clear and cold. There was nothing left for me to go back to. V came back from class to find me sitting on the floor with my laptop open to a payout email. She dropped her bag instantly. "Tell me that number is real," she said. $4,800, I whispered. "From Copper Ridge. 1 month." V grinned. "Then get up. We're finding you an apartment that isn't made of cinder blocks." By evening, we were standing in a small 1-bedroom in Sugar House. Brick walls, uneven floors, light that spilled in like it belonged to someone with a future. The landlord handed me the application. "You look like you need a fresh start." I signed before I could talk myself out of it. During the move, V carried my camera gear while I dragged the mattress up the stairs. When we stepped inside, she laughed. "It's empty, but it's yours." I set my laptop on the floor and transferred every spare dollar into a high-yield account labeled "Never Again." The first week alone felt strange quiet, but mine. I cooked cheap noodles on a real stove. I edited photos on the kitchen floor. I took client calls without whispering so I wouldn't wake anyone. Then, an email arrived from a small outdoor brand in Boulder, $4,000 for a spring rebrand. A follow-up message from a second company asked if I offered long-term design retainers. V came over with takeout to celebrate. "I knew people would see your work," she said through a mouthful of noodles. "All they needed was permission." I snorted. "Permission to realize you're better than the people who threw you away." My phone buzzed, then my mother again. A photo followed, the dining table covered in collection notices. My father hunched over them. V's smile faded. "Do not answer that." I didn't. Instead, I opened my calendar and booked a sunrise shoot for the next morning. As the confirmation email hit my inbox, I felt something steady settle in my chest, quiet, resolute, unbreakable. I was building a life they would never be able to touch. 2 years and a handful of months after I walked out of my parents' house, I drove back up the hill toward it with V in the passenger seat and 2 of my junior designers following behind us. A vinyl backdrop and lighting kit were packed in my trunk. My hands tightened on the wheel when the house came into view, smaller than I remembered, tired around the edges. V glanced at me. "You ready?" "I'm not here for them." I said, "I'm here for the truth." Janelle opened the front door before I reached the steps. Her apron was wrinkled, her eyes red-rimmed. "Juno," she breathed. "You came." A moment later, Mark appeared behind her, holding a carving knife like he had forgotten what to do with it. Ayla hovered near the dining room archway, hair dyed a dull shade that washed her out. None of them moved to hug me. "I brought colleagues," I said calmly. "We have something to film." My team carried the equipment inside. Conversations around the long table fell silent. Aunts, uncles, cousins, all staring like I was a ghost they were not prepared to see again. "What is this?" Mark asked. I unrolled the backdrop across the wall where our family portraits used to hang. White letters stretched across matte black Copper Ridge Creative Series, a closed $4,500,000. A gasp rippled through the room. One cousin whispered, "Is that real?" V adjusted a light. "Very real." Mark swallowed hard. You raised that kind of money. I built it. I said, from the ground you buried me under." Ayla stepped forward, voice trembling. "Juno, please. I am sorry. I did not know Brayden would." "You did not know," I said, "but you still cashed in my future for your perfect wedding." Janelle's chin quivered. "We were trying to hold the family together. We did what we thought was best. You used my social security number to open a credit card," I said quietly. "That was not family. That was convenience." A hush fell so heavy it pressed against the walls. Mark tried once more. "We can fix this, Juno. We are still family." I looked him in the eyes. Family does not trade one daughter's life for another daughter's ring. Family does not wait until the debt collectors show up to remember the child they threw away. No one spoke after that. My team lined up in front of the backdrop. We took the shot 10 seconds. One click. As I rolled the vinyl back up, Ayla whispered, "Please, stay." I walked to the door, pausing just long enough to look at all of them one last time. "You taught me what I was worth to you," I said. I raised the price. Then I stepped outside, closing the door behind me. I passed the house one last time a month later, heading toward the airport for a Denver flight. An orange sign stood in the yard. Auction in 30 days. Mark carried a cardboard box to a dented SUV. Janelle followed with a single suitcase. Neither of them looked up. V called from the passenger seat. "You good? I am finished." I said. The words felt steady, earned. 2 hours later, I stepped into the Copper Ridge creative office in Denver's Rhino District glass walls. Open space, my team laughing over morning coffee. V nudged me as I set my bag down. "You built this," she said. "We built this," I corrected. Before I went into the conference room, I hit record on my phone. My voice stayed calm. If anyone listening has ever had their future handed to someone else, hear me. You are allowed to walk away. You are allowed to build your own table, and you get to decide who sits at it. I ended the recording and walked toward the meeting that would shape our next year.